In a bombshell report out of Bloomberg, it appears that 30% of all traffic on Disney Plus is tied to one cartoon dog. Actually, a family of cartoon dogs. You know it as Bluey. Let's talk about the good and bad of that on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and I am here with Mr. Culture Casino. Culture, are you a Bluey fan?
I think it's a great children's program, but unlike you, I don't sit down to watch it regularly.
Well, I will say it's been a little while since I watched it myself, but my family watches it on a frequent basis, and I find the thing just delightful. Let's talk about this story out of Bloomberg, how Bluey became a $2 billion smash hit with an uncertain future. Uncertain future, that sounds foreboding. It's not foreboding for Bluey. It's not foreboding for the creators of the show. It's foreboding because of all the people who want to make money on it, despite the fact that the creators might be pulling back. This by Devin Leonard from Bloomberg. This is just a great story here. High above the masses pressed against police barricades, Joe Brumm stood by a window on the 5th floor of a New York office building, watching the balloons that go by. It was the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in 2022, and there was a Pikachu riding in a sleigh, Baby Yoda bundled in a heavy overcoat, Papa Smurf, Snoopy clad in a stylish astronaut's outfit. Then at some point, Brumm spied an enormous inflatable dog as tall as a 4-story building decorated with 50 gallons of blue paint. He'd spent so much time laboring over her pointy ears, her puffy white eyebrows, and her saucer-like eyes, her yellow snout, and her mildly embarrassed grin, trying to get everything right. It's split up here, but there she is. There's Bluey in a Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. For those of you who may not be familiar with this show, the basic plot of Bluey, this is a show that airs on Disney Junior in the United States. It's actually produced by ABC. And when I say ABC, I don't mean the American Broadcasting Company. I mean the Australian Broadcasting Company. This is a show produced by Ludo Studios, created by Joe Brumm. It has a cast of 4 primary characters. There's some that surround them. It is a show around family life and imagination play. And it is the most conservative thing that's come out in about 10 years. No, I'm just kidding. It's just good. It's a nuclear family in a maybe not so nuclear world, but it's great. It's delightful. I cannot speak to what is great about it other than to say they have stories that speak to life itself, and it's for kids. Great stuff here. But we're not here to talk about just how great Bluey is. We're here to talk about the business aspects here. As you probably heard in the intro, later on in this story, it says Disney pockets some of the merchandise currency from Bluey, even though if we're tracking this here, it is Ludo Studios that takes a lion's share. Then BBC Studios has the international rights to distribute Bluey as they see fit, and then Disney has contracted with BBC Studios in order to get those rights. So that's how Disney has Bluey, but we're going to see some missteps here. Disney also pockets some of that merchandising currency, but Bluey plays a big role in its streaming business, which has been a money loser so far. Emphasis on that right there. Their streaming service is not doing well. It's been a money loser since it started. And in order to save it, they have cut back on spending on all of that content that's supposed to bring people in, and has made the company the target of a much publicized campaign by activist investors, including Nelson Peltz, who's trying to force his way onto the board and make changes at the company. Disney CEO Bob Iger says it will mop up the red ink later this year, meaning they're going to make it profitable again by cutting all the spending and shifting money from one cost center to another, and perhaps even acquiring the show outright. But having more Bluey episodes to release. There's 2 coming out. April 7th is the next one. Perhaps even acquiring Bluey outright would certainly help his company. Bluey accounted for 29% of all TV views on Disney Plus in the 4th quarter of 2023, excluding movies, according to market research from the firm Circana. That is, if I was a Disney shareholder, I would struggle mightily with that statement right there. I'm sorry, I should have had this on the screen the whole time.
Wow.
We know how many views Bluey has had, and it is the biggest show in streaming. So of course it's going to have a high number, but I don't think that speaks well to the entire catalogs of shows that are on Disney Plus. If The Simpsons is a hit, there are 34 seasons of that,
Right.
and episodes are 22 minutes apiece. If we're just talking watch minutes of all TV views on and we don't know the metrics that Circana is using here, there are entire shows that have lasted for seasons and seasons and seasons at more than a 22-minute length, and episodes of Bluey are 8 apiece, and it's only in its 3rd season, and it accounts for 30% of all television views on Disney Plus. Movies are not that big of a chunk of any streaming platform because of the way that they work. Culture, what when you read a statement like that, does that leave you with a good impression of Bluey, or does that just leave alarm bells going off in your head for Disney Plus?
Why not both? It's both things at the same time. 29%, 30%. Let's just round it up. 30%, 1/3 of all traffic on Disney Plus is this little tiny TV show, this animated little thing that's only got, you say, 3 seasons?
Yes, it's
So
in its 3rd season, and it's about to have what might be its series, not season, but series finale.
Oh, that would be tragic.
Yeah, there's some room, and I'm just going to say this right here. The title of the most recent episode that's about to come out, there's one, and then there's a 28-minute super long episode, which for Bluey that is very long, called The Sign. And there's some rumors that while it's about a wedding, it's 2 characters that are actually already married on the show, that the sign that is being referred to is a moving sign. So this might be the last episode of Bluey ever. And Disney right now, this is the most successful item on their streaming service. They do not own it. They are licensing it from BBC. And it might be the only reason a lot of people are subscribed. I think that Disney is in a much worse position with Bluey than they realize. They used Bluey on the earnings call. Again, a show they are licensing that they do not own the rights to.
Well, and again, I mean, they used a lot of things in their marketing to investors to try to push back on this proxy fight. Right on the cover of the front page, whatever you want to call it, of their propaganda piece, they had Bluey up front.
Yes, they did. They did, and they had a lot of things on that cover page that would not be traditionally considered Disney. And in fact, I wonder if that was a defensive move after Peltz pointed out that the Fox assets have been underutilized at the company. They said that they bought Fox to prop up streaming, but Nelson Peltz, of course, pointed out that the pro forma income of the Fox Corporation was 60% linear TV and not streaming assets. So they actually were more exposed to linear than they were before they bought Fox.
Right. Wow.
This to me, 30% of all of your traffic coming from this show. Yes, this is a great show, and a lot of people watch it a lot. It's one of the few shows. Maybe this is a statement about the other content on Disney Plus, that if Disney Plus is a default platform as a babysitter platform, the kids are choosing Bluey. I don't think Disney wants to run this experiment, but I would like to know what happens if Bluey is not on the platform. Do they just choose something else? Is this quote unquote default content that they just like the Disney name and they're sitting here? Or will everyone go flooding to something else? I know of some people who watch Bluey, the uncensored version, which is not that censored anyways, on Disney. They will watch it on the Australian Broadcasting Company's website, just using a VPN. Not that I'm encouraging that kind of behavior. This to me says that Disney they're not in a great position here, and it might be a position of their own doing. Let's switch here to later on in the article.
Okay.
People at ABC weren't the only ones who might have been second guessing their Bluey relationship. A source familiar with Disney's original Bluey deal in 2019 says the company's consumer products division had the chance at the time to license the show's merchandising and theme park rights from BBC Studios, but it passed on them. That's something Disney now regrets. I'll say. After all, kids were showing up at its theme parks and getting their first lesson in intellectual property law when they discovered that they got to meet Darth Vader, but not Bingo. This is Disney to kids right now, says Scott Guston. Hey, Scott Guston, a writer who covers theme parks and is a frequent visitor to Disney. People are 100% wondering why there's no tie-in to Bluey on the property. Disney's Davis declines to comment on whether Disney has explored buying Bluey. Ludo, for its part, says Bluey isn't for sale. By the way, good for you on that, on that, Ludo. I don't think Ludo needs to let Disney have this because it may continue to live on for a few more years, but in reality, Disney, give them about 10 years and they will destroy just about any franchise they get their hands on. Culture.
Yeah, I'm still
How much would you be kicking yourself right now on this?
Also astounding to me, right? I mean, I think they tried to use Bluey for some purpose, got in trouble, but I don't, correct me if I'm wrong there. But what I find fascinating is that Disney is just overly invested in things that they no longer should be, the things that they've driven to failure. I'm kind of glad, as you are, that Ludo's not going to let go this property. Because I'm still reeling from the numbers you pointed out earlier. There's 151 episodes of Bluey to date. They're 8 minutes long.
Yep. They're not very long at all.
They're 30% of the streaming business.
And I'll point this out. And thanks to the crack reporting over there at WDWNT, we do know that on November 2nd of last year, there was an article titled "Bluey Arrives at Walt Disney World for New Scavenger Hunt Experience." Yeah, that happened. But then, of course, it was followed up with Bluey Scavenger Hunt at Walt Disney World abruptly ended for unknown reasons. Yeah, I think we now know the reasons for that.
Yeah, that's what I was alluding to. I was like, they tried to do it and then found out they couldn't. So yeah,
yes, I think I think some well-meaning person didn't realize that was not a Disney property, and Disney is going to take any win they can get right now, whether or not they have the right to take that win. We see that, of course, with many other situations in business right now.
Yeah, I'm still, Jonas, I'm going to say this right now. If this show goes away, it leaves Disney Plus, they're in huge trouble.
Oh, amazing trouble. This might be why they're merging Hulu and Disney Plus together, because they realize that no one is watching Disney Plus right now, and that's the dirty secret here. They can talk about their ad revenue and how the ad supported stuff is on the rise, but we see the figures. Disney is making a pittance compared to what they make on Hulu, which doesn't have quote unquote Disney content on that. So rather than say that Disney is unsuccessful, they would rather redefine the term Disney to include things that let's say Walt would not approve of.
But Jonas, aren't they also adding, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right, they're adding something called ESPN to Disney Plus.
That's true. Yeah, and bless their hearts, that synergy does not seem to go back and forth with ESPN and Disney. Other than the fact that they own it, I don't think Disney has done a good job of synergizing there. But we have gone on for probably long enough, even though I could go on forever about the joys of watching Sleepy Time, one of the most excellent episodes of television out there, or the episode of Bluey where they talk with where Grandpa, they go visit Grandpa, and Grandpa goes for a run when he's just had a heartworm treatment, and Chili has to go chase him down and talk about what life was like when they were little. So good, so good. Anyways, I want to throw this to our commenters here. What do you think about the situation that Disney has put themselves in with Bluey? Good for them that they've got the show for now, but oh my goodness, this exposes a huge problem that needs to be fixed. That being said, like this video if you like this video, and please consider subscribing to Culture Casino. He's great. And of course, That Park Plays for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.